price at $2,500 per rental. To get to that number, what we looked at was we had Erica Gunn at Tourism go and pull data from different facilities across the state that were comparable, or as close as we could get. Because to be honest with you, there are not very many facilities in the state of Indiana that are like this, that have this size and that are new and can be as, I guess, functionable and as flexible as what this facility is going to be. And so in looking at those numbers and the amenities that are included here, we settled on the 2,500. Do I think it's worth more? Yeah, I think so. My hope, my goal here is that in 6 months, after this building has been up and running and it's been rented, that we're going to be kicking ourselves saying, man, we should have gone 25, or we should have gone 3,500, or maybe more. But we want to make sure that it gets off the ground and that we really build up momentum in that first year. So if 2,500 is the number that gets us that momentum, to get us the notoriety, not just here in Decatur County, but in surrounding communities, that's what we want to do. And so part of that, to gain that momentum, is also on the audiovisual side of it. We're still trying to hammer out those details, but we want to make sure that we have a system where anybody and everybody inside that room at a conference or at a wedding, that they can see the presentation that is being given. Whether it's a PowerPoint presentation or a slideshow, they will be able to see the same thing on multiple screens around that facility, whether it's on projectors or whether it's on large television monitors. They'll all be hooked into the same program, into the same IT capabilities that'll be in our utility room. It'll be plug and play so that somebody coming in to give a presentation can plug into the system out there in the main part of the event center, and they can give their presentation right away. We'll have the audio capabilities so that everybody can hear. We're waiting to see what the audio quality is like in the building once it's fully completed. Once it's constructed and it has everything in there, we can play music, we can play something so that we can see what the ambient noise is going to be like before we go in to put some type of audio dampening up in the ceiling, up in the rafters, so that you don't have that echo, so that you can actually hear what's going on. We are planning ahead. I think one of the exciting things, and it's something that came up here in the last probably 2 months with Mike Snyder at EMA, working on having disaster preparedness. He's going around the community and setting up agreements with different areas so that, say something were to happen where we have a catastrophic event and folks are displaced, or we have a tornado, something like that, where you have some mass event happening, folks are out of their home. We need those types of centers where folks can go, and if they have to sleep there, they can sleep there. We can bring in lots of supplies into those different centers. That got us thinking, well, what about this facility? And so we're having generator hookups put into the actual building so that we can roll in a large generator that will be able to power the entire system. The HVAC will be able to keep the lights on, so that if we have something happen in the winter or something that's going on in the summer with a tornado event, we will be able to accommodate the needs of Decatur County as well. And so we're planning ahead because we want this building to be flexible. We want to be able to serve the needs of Decatur County, but also be able to benefit from bringing events that have not historically been in Decatur County here, because that's a benefit to all of us. And I think it's something that, when you were just referencing the ball diamonds, that's what we're seeing already. The numbers that I got from Chris Noblet earlier today actually are pretty phenomenal. We have a net profit of over $100,000 at the ball diamonds. We were looking at, I know it was over 50,000. I think it was over 55,000 people visited Decatur County, and it was like 40 or 50% of those were from 50 miles or more from Decatur County because of the renovations that were done at Ball Diamonds. That's what we can experience with this as well, because we're targeting something that we don't have. When you look at surrounding counties, it's not there. And being centrally located between Cincinnati and Indianapolis and Columbus, we're ripe to be able to host these kinds of events. I had a meeting with tourism with Erica Gunn and her board, because we need to make sure that this is marketed correctly. We want to make sure that we're truly going after these kinds of expos and conferences that this building is designed to host, that we aren't just trying to keep our business local for this type of a facility. And so talking with tourism, I think we're going to have a good solid plan on how exactly we're going to get word out this facility exists and what exactly it can do. Questions?
What are you going to do about parking?
Rick, Dennis, parking. So when you're talking about an event that's going to be 600 people, nothing else can be going on at the fairgrounds at that point because of an event that's that large. So we'll be able to use the parking that's at the extension office. We'll also be able to park around the fairgrounds. There will be handicap parking that's on the west side of the new building where the extension office is going to be at. So that will be the most accessible parking. You can also park on Park Road. During our preliminary discussions before this building really got up and was getting developed, we talked about tearing down the old extension office, or the current extension office, if you will. We looked at how many spots we were going to gain there, and the loss of the building and the potential that we have there wasn't justified by the spots that we gained. There wasn't a significant enough impact for us to tear the building down, because when we look at it structurally, the building's just fine. I would hate to tear down a county asset that we can still use. I'm not saying that there doesn't need to be work done there, because there does. There does definitely need to be work done on the plumbing and on the HVAC side. Other than that, the building is fine. Structurally, it has no issues, and so I would hate to just tear that building down to create 18, 20 parking spots. So I think there's plenty of parking around the fairgrounds and on Park Road. When you look at the amount of parking and the number of people that are coming to the Ball Diamonds right now, I think we'll be able to accommodate that as well there at the fairgrounds. And on that note, the house that currently sits there at the Ball Diamonds, it's owned by the county. We're going to have that demolished, and we're going to be expanding the parking over there at the Ball Diamonds. It's going to get us a decent number of additional parking spots at the Ball Diamonds. And so that's going to make parking even closer for anything that's happening over there at the fairgrounds.
Just curious.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we've also discussed that, if this really does go where we hope it's going to go, a lot like the Ball Diamonds. I mean, that was the discussion with the Ball Diamonds, is we wanted to see the success. Like, let's do those first 4 and let's see where this is really going, and then we'll make that decision on the back 4. Well, it took off like wildfire. And so that was a pretty quick decision. Like, yeah, we can tell this is going. We hope that this is where the fairgrounds facility is going as well. And so some of the discussions that I've had with folks is that if we need to go over and pave on the south end of the extension office where the gravel lot is at right now, we can do that. And so we can definitely accommodate additional parking, but there's a lot of possibilities there. Do you have any questions for Rick or Dennis?
Just curious, have you secured any financial commitments yet?
Yes. Yeah. So I think is the number that we talked about the other day still valid? So I think that we're at approximately $600. I wish we were at $600. $160,000 right now, in either in-kind or pledges. Is where we're at right now. I'm confident. I think Dennis, you're confident as well that there's a number of individuals that have not submitted their pledges, but they will be. We don't know the value of those, but I'm confident that a lot of those folks that we've talked to.
When I was looking at my notes from the last meeting, I had ready funds available was 1.9 million.
1.95 million. Yes.
And you're projecting the building's going to cost $2 million?
It's over $2 million. It's roughly, I think it's just under 3 or right at $3 million.
Okay. And you're wanting to raise 800,000.
Correct.
Was there a half match in there somewhere?
Yeah. So the way Ready works.
It's a ready fund match. Is that what it is?
So the way this whole project works is $4 million. It was originally supposed to be $2 million from the state through Ready, and then it was going to be $2 million local. Well, we got word from Ready earlier this year that each project in our Ready area, which is Shelbyville, Shelby County, Rushville, Rush County, Greensburg, Decatur County, and then the city of Batesville, we all had to cut $50,000 off of the Ready portion. So that's how it went from $2 million to 1.95 for the Ready money. The remaining portion of that, $800,000 through the donation campaign. Now that donation campaign can either be through monetary donations or in-kind donations. So if there's somebody that's doing work or they have some type of asset that can be used in the building, then they can give that. And if it's, say it's $100 piece of equipment that can be used in, they give us a bill for what it would have cost, and then the bill that they're charging us zero for it, that's how the in-kind donations are tracked. And so we have seen some in-kind donations as well. So the other $1.2 million is from Decatur County government. We have already at this point far exceeded our $1.2 million commitment. During the building phase of this project, we are up to $2.3 million because with the state's audit of the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, that put the brakes on money being released from the IEDC, which is what READY is under. And so we didn't want to stop the project because that would cause construction delays. It would also cause the cost to go up for the construction of the project. And so we continued on. We modified, we amended our edit plan to go up to the 2.3, or actually we went up to $2 million. And then we used the $300,000 that we had as seed money at the Decatur County Community Foundation. So we have already exceeded our $1.2 million commitment to this project. And so how that's going to work for us going forward in the future is as we start seeing the READY funds coming from the state, we can actually repay ourselves. The funds coming from the state can get split off so that we can continue the construction and pay for the final phases of the construction, and then we can also pay back the additional tax dollars that are above our $1.2 million commitment. And we've had progress on READY. We're in the next phase. I think there's only one more phase for us to go through. I've told other folks that as a private citizen, I like what they're doing because they're really looking at these projects. They're making sure that they're truly what they're being built, that they're built correctly, that the project is truly going to do what folks are saying they're going to do. From somebody that is trying to get one of these projects through, it's caused a lot of headaches because it's taken a lot of time. It's a lot slower than what it was going through the READY 1 project, and so it's definitely caused some consternation. But I think overall, we're going to get there. The first phase they did that we've made it through now, they did an economic impact analysis, and so that was one of the meetings that I sat in with some of the READY officials. They wanted to actually see more than just what the building is, because if you look at this and you don't know what the true intent is of the building, it looks like the Taj Mahal of 4-H community buildings. And so they had some questions. We talked about what's the true intent of this, and when we talked about what this is really going to do in the community, that's when they got on board, when they actually heard what the intent was. And so we made it past the economic impact analysis, and we're moving on to where we can get the final approval with the disbursements.
When's that expected?
I'd like to know. They won't give us dates. Yeah, because initially, all READY funds were supposed to be released this summer with the approval, and then it got pushed to the fall, and then they were talking maybe the winter, and then they were talking first quarter of 26. And so now it's actually being rolled back to where we were, more of like that fall time frame. So I mean, we're in the ballpark. That's the best answer that I can give you, unfortunately.
This $2,500 rental fee, where does that money go to? Does that go to building maintenance? Does that go to county general? Where is it?
Great question. So anything that is raised, any of the money that is raised at the fairgrounds stays in the non-reverting fair account. And so that will be able to perpetuate updates and development at the fairgrounds. So we aren't, pillaging the fairgrounds' success to be able to do something else. We want the fairgrounds to be self-sustaining at the end of the day.
Yeah, I like that idea.
And if I recall correctly, Rick, when you guys came last month, you said $3 up to a 5-year pledge.
Yes. Yep.
What do you want from us?
I think in talking with Greg and Dennis, I think you would ask for $200,000. It is. It's a big ask, but at the same time, one of the largest entities that will be using this is I've had a lot of conversations with them, and they are probably the biggest entity on a regular basis that will be using this facility. They will be hosting their associate assemblies here, not just once a year. From the discussions that we've had, we're looking at something 4 to 6 times a year that will be using this facility. And I don't think Honda's going to be the last of these types of conferences that we're going to be hosting because of what we can do here. And so I think that this really does fit in with what this body is organized to do. I think it fits. Obviously, that's your call. I don't want to overstep my bounds there. But I think when we look at the benefits for what this can do and what this organization is meant to do, I think that's where it fits.
So you're asking for a $300,000 commitment from us. You have commitments of 160. Do you have confidence you can raise the remaining amount from there?
I think so. So part of that, and if you look at the reason that we have the $800,000 number in there, that's not that is not that Decatur County does not have the funds to accomplish the project. The private match portion of Ready is actually a state requirement. One of the biggest things that I think they want to see through these types of programs is they want to see the local buy-in. And so that's the reason for requiring a local match. And it is, while that was our proposal, it is not a set in stone number either. The region as a whole, so the other counties and cities that I mentioned earlier, have to average a certain percentage for each project in our Ready region. They all have to average at a certain percentage, and I don't remember what that is. I know Brian Robinson's told me a number of times, and I can't remember what that percentage is, but it's as an aggregate. It's not as an individual project. So while I think we have a great possibility of getting the 800, if we don't get there at the end of the day, it doesn't kill the project.
When were you hoping to have this 800 raised by?
We started the campaign in August July at the fair. Yeah, get my dates mixed up there. Yeah, so we started the campaign July at the fair was our kickoff, and we're hoping that as we get here towards the end of the year, that's due to accounting for different businesses and organizations. I think that might be when we start to see a lot of the actual pledges coming in.
You don't necessarily have a...
That's so with the 5-year commitment, with having that window, you don't have to have all the funds right up front. And I think there is a built-in acknowledgement from the state when you're allowing 5 years on a pledge. I think there's a tacit acknowledgement from the state that not everybody is going to fulfill their pledge amount to the very, very end. There will be a certain percentage of folks that do not give their full pledge. And at the end of the day, there's nothing that we can do for that. Which would also cause me to fall back that we're already above our required amount that we were supposed to pay under this project. So if we had to continue to use the ready funds that we get from the state to finish the project, we have that ability to do that. And we've also gotten confirmation that we can use the donations if we have to either fulfill the project or pay ourselves back on that project.
questions?
Do you want to hear more about any of the other aspects of this project? Because it is more than just the building. The building is approximately that $3 million number. The total project is $4 million. Other areas of improvement include electrical upgrades at the fairgrounds. So a lot of the electricity out there, the electrical lines out there and transformers are 40, 50 years old. And so in talking with Decatur County REMC, we're going to put in a new pedestal system at the fairgrounds. We're going to run new higher phase lines to all of the buildings so that we don't have issues. An issue that popped up I think 2 years ago during the cattle show, one of their breaker boxes was so hot you couldn't get your hand within the foot of the box. So there are those issues that are around the fairground. So we're going to be upgrading all of the electrical. We already did the drainage at the track and at the horse arena so that those areas can continue to operate and function as they're intended to, even if we get some rain. We aren't going to deal with catastrophic flooding, but we can deal with a steady rain, and the next day it'll be good to go. We'll also be doing additional improvements to the horse barn, because a lot of that hasn't been touched, and there are definitely some structural issues there that we will be improving. We already did the renovations of the farm and home bathrooms. That was approximately a $90,000 upgrade. New fixtures, new walls, new flooring, and HVAC. So those facilities are now heated and cooled, and that's really going towards our track here of trying to make the fairgrounds as usable as we can year round. We don't just want one aspect to be usable year round. If there's other areas, particularly the farm and home building, that already had restroom facilities, they didn't have HVAC capabilities. Now they do, so they would be able to host an event year round out there. We'll also be putting in camping spots at the fairgrounds on the west side, across the road from the fairgrounds, and that's truly a multi-purpose reason for putting the camper spots over there. We want to be able to have additional camping during the fair or other events that are going on, but also the ball diamonds. Folks that are traveling for baseball, softball tournaments, a lot of them are calling asking, hey, do you have camper hookups? We don't, besides your basic electrical down by the creek right now, the answer is no. And so we want to be able to accommodate, be able to capture some of that additional revenue, and you're bringing in one more amenity that makes Decatur County attractive. Bring in tax dollars that are from outside of our community here to Decatur County. And when you continue this, you perpetuate this growth that's responsible, where we're maintaining our identity as an agricultural community, but we're also bringing in revenue from outside of Decatur County. That's a win.
Well, I'm supportive, and I guess I will make a motion to pledge 300,000 over, a total of 300,000 over a 3-year term, so 100,000.
Work for you?
I think it's a good thing, and anything we can do to make our community more attractive to not just our local residents, but surrounding, I think, is a great thing. Because nothing else, they're helping to pay for it.
Fantastic.
Are there any other long-term projects planned for that area out there?
Which area are you talking
Well, just that general, I know which the diamonds were kind of a big boom for attracting a lot of outside activity. Is there anything, I mean, I know the building now,
Yep.
and then is there anything else that kind of parlays into that? Are there any improvements to the park area or?
So as far as this project goes, there's a whole other list of things that are outside of what I went through that didn't make the cut because of limited financial resources. Some of those improvements for the fairgrounds would include either terracing or at the track or putting bleachers at the track. We did upgrade the lighting at the track on the west side. We still need to do the east side. It's approximately I think it was $90,000 for the poles and the lights on the west side. So we would be looking at that again on the east side of the track. But I think terracing that hill would be really, really cool. You don't have to feel like you're going to roll down the hill when you're just sitting there. And so
It's off a bunch of little kids.
yeah, unless you're like 5 years old and you want to
Yeah.
run down sideways down the hill. So that's one of them that didn't make the cut. The other one, the other big one at the fairgrounds that didn't make the cut, is a full-on new horse arena, horse barn, to get them out of the floodplain, get them away from the creek, move them to the west side of 200 there, and truly make that a facility that's state of the art. Not grandiose, but something that can truly be used year round. And so when I was talking with the horse clubs earlier this year, I asked them, show me that you can bring in additional shows, bring in additional revenue, and they've done that. 2025 has been a great year for those facilities. They've really done the work, and I think if we can continue to see that type of progress and development in the use of those facilities, we can make a real use case for a new facility there for them. Moving away from the fairgrounds, you may or may not have heard, we're discussing again the pool. We need to have some type of resolution at the pool, and so we have just gone through the BOT process where we had selected a company that will then put together a proposal and bring it to us. We're going to start having some discussions on funding for that project as well, because right now when you're doing the BOT part of it, you're just selecting an entity that is most qualified to proceed on the project for the design and the actual construction of the project. So we aren't at a dollar figure amount yet, but we're trying to figure out what we can get for a lower price tag than where we were at on the last pool proposal. And then when you start seeing the profits that we saw from the ball diamonds this year, the very first year, when technically they're running it less than 50% capacity or right at 50% capacity for the entire year, and we're seeing a $100,000 net profit. With those funds going to the Parks Department, you'll be able to see upgrades over there at City Park. So I think that's something that this part of our community is really going to be bringing in, I think, a lot of outside dollars. And when I talk about that to folks, I like to expand that it's not just folks coming in and paying to rent the facility that they're renting, whether that's the ball diamonds or the community building at the fairgrounds. More than likely, they're coming from far away, and that's what the statistics showed for the ball diamonds. They're staying in our hotels, so we're going to get the hotel tax revenue. They're going to our gas stations, so we're getting the gas tax revenue, which helps our roads. The hotel tax revenue helps tourism, our tourism department. The gas tax revenue helps us maintain our local roads, so outside dollars helping improve our roads. They're going to our restaurants, so they're going to be able to support our local restaurants. That means they're going to be able to continue to pay the folks that are working at their restaurants a good wage. They're going to continue to have jobs, which is your local income tax. And the local income tax is what feeds our economic development project or our economic development fund, which is what we use to build this building. And so it's a way that we can continue to invest in our community, and we can continue to get those types of funds coming in. So yes, there's a lot that's planned in that part of Decatur County. I don't think this is it. And the good thing is we aren't going in debt for this.
Well, I'll second Chris's motion.
Okay. A motion and a second. Any other discussion on it? Hearing none. Then all those in favor of the motion to pay $100,000 per year for 3 years, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had heard that they were looking at the old softball diamond to put the horse arenas and stuff up there.
No, so as far as the up at Kohler Park,
Yeah.
no. So last year we signed it was either a 5 or a 10-year lease with the Parks department, it's gonna stay as a softball diamond or a baseball diamond. Yeah. We aren't moving the horse arena over there. We had heard some folks that came in and talked about how much those facilities are truly used. I had no idea how many folks go up there and play baseball and softball throughout the week, basically from late spring until early fall. It's a heavily used facility, and it's not something that we want to take away from the community just because of how many folks use it.
They still have the men's league?
Yeah.
Been years for.
Back in our day, we were up there 3 nights a week.
Oh, yeah.
White ball.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And I think this is all continues to grow and talk about marketing our assets. Soccer complex, softball diamonds, fairgrounds. It's going to take folks to help the parks department do the marketing, schedule all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just 1980, but
Yeah.
It works, and I brought some very blessed over.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's kids that practice
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
Have a good evening.
Yep, you as
Thank you.
well.
Okay. Anybody have any other old business? I couldn't think of any, so. We'll go to new business, a project review. I mentioned 2 projects that we have approved many years ago that has not been active. One of them was a Highway 46 rail crossing that was approved in 2020. And the utilities for what was then called the Business Enterprise Park. And that was done in 2017. And that number today wouldn't come anywhere near. If something would happen, that'd be nowhere near, so. To me, it seems, and I would make a suggestion that we cancel those 2 approvals. And if somebody wants to do something with one of those projects later on, it'd be just a new
Submission.
new one, because it's, like I say, what we approved for the Enterprise Park 8 years ago, won't come anywhere near.
Didn't Danny say at one time that the proposed business out there was supposed to pay for all infrastructure?
No, yeah, what this proposal, what we had was to get it from the lines that feed Honda to just the north side of
all
the
we're doing is
interstate.
crossing the interstate.
All we doing was crossing the interstate. After that, that's all we were doing, was just getting it on the north side of the interstate. That was it. And if you, I don't know if you remember, but there are 3 tunnels underneath of the interstate, one of which is being used.
Yeah.
So, I would suggest that we cancel those 2 commitments to the Highway 46 rail crossing and the Business Enterprise Park utilities. Do I hear a motion for that?
I'll make a motion for that.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Do we have an official, like, expiration for approval?
No.
We don't, we just
No.
let it run, okay.
Yeah, we don't have, at least in the past, we have never put a time frame on it.
Okay.
Not saying we can't do that in the future, but in the past, we've never put a specific date.
So then those dollars just roll back into available dollars for someone else that wants to come forward?
Yeah, because it's just money we haven't spent, so
Yeah.
it just,
It was kind of committed. It wasn't, we said, well, we can give you this amount. And if
Yeah.
they come back and say, well, we promised we could give this amount,
yeah.
but we didn't, set aside that money for that particular
Yeah,
reason.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was approved, but we didn't take that money and put it over here in the fund and just let it set. It just was
How much did we put in there for the railroad crossing, dollar-wise? Was that
300,000.
Was it 300K?
600 for the other one.
Yeah. So,
Do we need to look at putting timeframes on some of these commitments?
well, if we could,
Well, I just wondered if somebody associated with these remembers that they were granted these dollars and then come back and say, we need it. I mean, I know we could say, yeah, you have to resubmit, but
yeah, well,
if they knew ahead of time,
yeah,
hey, we're approving you for 300,000, it's good for a year, 6
Mhm.
months.
yeah.
I'm wondering if the best way to approach that, Matt, would be with each specific request, rather than make a blanket statement, because it's hard to anticipate
Sure.
a timeline. So, if we get another business center park funding request, maybe at that time we just say within the motion that this commitment is good for 18 months. Or
Yeah.
I'm fine
Yeah.
with that, yeah.
On the Adams Fire Department, didn't we withdraw the funds and then recommit them? I was thinking because all the turmoil that went through out there. 'Cause
I don't think we ever actually killed the commitment. We just made,
We just paused them, didn't
we
Or-
paused them and said, hey, until you
Yeah.
get this figured out.
Yeah, but we did, that one meeting, we did recommit
Yeah,
to that just to
but,
bring it up to date, I
Yeah.
guess.
so, and you're right, maybe from now on, when we make a commitment, we set a time frame for it.
I know a lot of times on projects where they're wanting matching funds for like a federal highway job, or like the Park Road
Yeah,
job. Back when I was still working, the city approached me for an estimate to relocate all the facilities. 6 years ago. And I told Ron May at the time, I said, how am I supposed to project costs in 6 years down the road? He said, just inflate them 33%, that should cover it. I said, all right, so I inflated them 50%, just so they had a working number to approach the state.
yeah. But,
I doubt if it even comes close today.
yeah, but, okay. All right, well, we'll do that, and, the other item is the 2026 annual spending plan that we have to now file annually with DLGF because of whatever. The only two projects we have after these cancellations, the only two projects we have left is the EMA storage building and the Parks and Rec baseball complex. And those two remaining commitments is $492,000. And I assume both of those hopefully will be done by the end of next year.
Yeah.
So I have talked with Matt Eckerly, and he he said they would be willing to work up a spending plan like they did for us last year.
Sounds good to me.
And I will tell him these are the two projects that we definitely have, plus this third one.
Yeah.
And tell him that's the three, and that's what we have. And I don't know if you remember, but it was really very general, the plan he had worked up for us then. But if that's okay, that's what I will give to him, and hopefully by, well, our November meeting, we'll have a spending plan to approve, and then that can be submitted to the state.
Does it have to be submitted by November, or is it an earlier date? I was thinking we pushed that deadline date
Well, we might
pretty hard
have.
the last time.
Yeah, I don't, well, and I talked to Matt, and I told him, you know, that we'd probably, hopefully, if he would be willing to prepare it, he knows what our meeting dates are,
Yeah.
so he didn't say anything about it, so. I gotta say, I wanted to say, did I bring that with me? I don't think I did. No. It doesn't have a date on it. This is a 25 plan. Oh, here it is. Annual spending plan by December 1. We must submit an annual spending plan.
I thought there was a deadline.
Yeah, December 1. So if we approve it at our November meeting, we should, that'd be plenty of time.
Sure.
But it says by December 1. Okay, if you're agreeable with that, I will have Matt proceed with that.
What was that other thing that we kind of missed the deadline on? As far as submitting something that we had, at least we got the ball or something a little bit. What the hell was it?
Oh, it was the notifying all the, having the hearing on the, it's in the, we did it in the June meeting. Go back to June meeting.
Oh, you capturing
the
it,
access.
yeah.
Yeah, I've not heard anything from that. So, and I talked, and Christie did get submitted, so I've not heard anything, so I assume it's okay.
Otherwise, we just won't get money next year.
Yeah. Well, we still have sufficient
Yeah.
amount. Okay, is there any other business anybody knows of? Not next meeting, November the 19th. Okay. Be the third Wednesday.
Okay with me.
Okay. We'll leave it at the 19th then. Nothing else? Motion to adjourn is in order.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.